Right, okay, so I'm getting impatient and I want to get this painted before I do anything really, just because I want to see what it looks like. It will need touching up here and there after, because obviously we're going to lap the valves in and it'll probably need touching up, but once it's all assembled on the engine block we can give it a final touch up, you know, when you put extra bolts and things on it. So I've had some masking tape on order for weeks now, and Amazon it keeps on going out of stock, so I've got a tiny bit here and I'm hoping that's enough. Let's get it masked up and see where we get. Right, so I've got this all masked up now. It's not 100% perfect, and it doesn't have to be. If I go over on some of the bits, we can sand it off afterwards. Also, I can, like I said, we'll be topping this up later on as well. I'm going to go ahead. We've got our engine enamel. What I'll do is I'll put a link in the description. I got this off of Amazon. It's quite expensive stuff, but apparently it goes relatively far. Small tin like that should probably do the whole engine. I've also got the sump, the rocker cover, and any other bits which we're going to paint in this colour. So I'm just going to give this a quick read, get my stuff ready to clean the paintbrush afterwards, and then we'll get some paint on this cylinder head. It doesn't actually say on here how to clean it. We've got some white spirit anyway, so let's get cracking. Okay, so there you go, there's the first coat. I hope you could see most of that. It's tricky because the window's here, I'm shooting against the light, so the engine block is basically in shadow most of the time, but it looks really good, and that's with one coat. As you can see, I've used hardly any of this paint, so it does go far. I think they're about £10 a tin, which is quite a bit for something that size, but like I say, apparently you'll be able to get at least the whole engine out of one of these small tins. There's a chap on YouTube, I forget his name now, but I'll put a link in the description. He's done an A-series engine rebuild, step by step. I think he's from Yorkshire, don't quote me on that though. I'll put a link in the description because his engine build videos are really good. He's a proper old school boy, but he gets about an engine and a half out of one of these small tins. So that's one coat. I'm going to put a couple of coats on there and then we can strip the masking tape off and see how it looks. It's going to need touching up, so you know, by the time we've bashed it around in the workshop a bit, it will need touching up, but for now it protects the metal, stops it from rusting while it's just sat here, because it could be sat here for a while we work on the rest of the engine and the car chassis. For now, that's good enough. I'll let this dry. I think you've got to let it dry for a couple of hours and then we'll stick another coat or two on there. Okay, well, I thought I'd take the opportunity while I had the paintbrush out and I was painting the cylinder head. Thought I might as well give the engine mounting plate a quick sand. I'd cleaned this, I'd left it soaking in the parts cleaner for a few days. I've cleaned it all up thoroughly. There was just a few bits of sort of stubborn but flaky paint on there. So I've just hit it with 120 grit sandpaper in the random orbit sander. That Triton sander, by the way, absolutely fantastic. We use it at our workshop, the Ireland workshop. I'll leave a link in the description to our other YouTube channel because we predominantly do laser engraving and woodwork. Triton orbital sander, fantastic, really good value for money and good quality. I've just ran over that with 120 grit and it's taken that off nicely. I'm I'm just going to wipe it down now with some brake cleaner fluid, and then we'll give that a lick of paint. There's only a couple of areas on here that don't need paint. I think it's just that inside seal, but I'm going to paint the whole thing anyway. If we need to remove any of it for the assembly, that's fine, we can do that. So. Is it just me who loves the smell of brake cleaner? Oh. So I just sit my brush, I've got like an old pasta sauce jar here which I put some white spirit in. Keep your brushes in there, stops them going hard and wasting them. Just loosen this lot off and then we'll hit this. Alright, there you go, so just the first light coat. We're not in a rush, so I'll let that dry before turning it over and doing the other side. So yeah, I'm going to get the rocker cover now. So the rocker cover, a few dings in it, apart from that it's alright. Give this a sand and we'll get that painted up. I might spray the rocker cover. I was thinking of spraying the rocker cover and the sump with primer first. We've got bare metal here in a couple of places, so it might be a good idea to get some primer on here, some etch primer, and then coat it. Also, I'm going to coat the inside as well. Not many people coat the inside, but it doesn't harm. So Lou's here, checking to make sure I'm still working. Also, we've got a couple of other little bits. We've got the oil filter holder as well. Again, that's more of a bare steel rather than cast iron, so I might give that a coat of primer as well. We'll get those sanded and then we'll stick a coat on. Alright, so I've got a 120 grit here and we're just going to give this a light sand just to remove the flakes or the flaky paint. We're not going back to bare metal on the whole thing, but yeah, we'll get rid of the flaky paint. Right, well, I've popped down to the garage because that's where my bench grinder is. A few of the bits, especially on this, on the engine fan blade here, it's got some quite intricate sort of bits where there's loads of flaking paint. So I thought I'll use the wire wheel on the grinder here. There's also a few little naggly bits on here, so we'll hit it on the wire wheel and then we'll take it back up to the basement to get this primed. Alright, so I've cleaned up all the parts now that I'm going to spray with primer. You might notice that I was just tapping out, this is the for the gear stick shroud, and it was all bent up, and I was just giving it a quick tap with the panel beating set there. I'm going to do a review on that as well. It's the Undertake kit, so it's not great quality, but I'm not planning on you know, getting into panel beating too much. It's an incredible skill, but just having a play around trying to get this looking a bit tidier, which it does. So I've wiped these all down now with some brake cleaning fluid. This is my makeshift spray area. Just going to line these up and then it means we can spray them with some etch primer. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we've got our self-etching primer here. We use Autotech spray paints mostly. We got it off of Amazon, really cheap. I think we got 12 tins of this for about 40-50 quid, something like that. I'll leave a link in the description. But yeah, we painted all of the rollover jig, which was raw steel, with this primer, and it seemed to be just fine. Just giving it a shake. I can't hear the rattle. There you go. Right, okay, so we've given them just a real light coat now of self-etch primer. We'll give that about 20 minutes, and then I'll give them another coat. And then I think after that, some of them which have got a sort of a rough texture on, we'll give a light sand with some 240 grit, something like that, and then just give them one more coat, and then they're ready for top coat then. Right, we'll give them a few minutes to dry. Right, okay, so everything's been drying overnight. I'm going to go ahead, this has had 2 coats, the cylinder head, so I'm going to take all the masking tape off that, and that'll do for now. Then we're ready to lap the valves. I need to clean them first, clean all the valves up, clean the springs, but then we're ready to lap the valves, which I'm quite looking forward to. We can get those all seated, new valve seals on there, which is something I learned recently. And yeah, and then so we're ready, so that'll be the cylinder head done, ticked off the list. I've turned the engine plate over, and I'm going to give that a coat on the other side. Some of these other bits over here, so some of these bits here are going to be painted black. So I've got like the gear stick shroud, I'm going to paint that black. The oil filter holder, that's going to be painted the same green. The blades for the fan should be painted yellow. I don't have yellow, I've got black and green, so I don't know, I'll hold off. The parts here, any parts which are going to be facing inside the engine or covering something up, I'm actually going to spray that black. The outside I'm going to paint with the BMC Green, but I don't want to waste that paint on bits you're not really going to see, so I'm going to spray that inside with black. Same with the timing chain cover. I'm just going to paint the inside black, and then the outside is free to be painted with the BMC Green. Same with the spindle that the fan goes to. I'm probably just going to paint that black because it's a moving part. It's going to get absolutely caned in the engine bay, so there's no need to paint that a fancy colour. That can just be painted black. The rocker cover, we're doing the outside in the green, and I haven't decided whether to paint the inside with the green as well. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'll figure that out. But let's get cracking for today. Let's get some green on that engine plate, and we'll figure out what's what with the other bits. Alright, so while they're drying, I'll just go through a couple of the bits we've received from Amazon today. Ironically enough, masking tape. I was running low on the masking tape yesterday, masking up the head. I've been waiting for these for 3-4 weeks. They hadn't arrived, so I just got cracking. Luckily I had enough, and these arrived this morning. So 4 rolls of masking tape, just the cheap stuff, just for, masking up. I also ordered some grease. This is bearing grease, but this will just be fine for, using as assembly grease. It's a proper old school one, so you can push it down and it just comes out nice and thick, so it's not going to go anywhere. I'll find out the prices for these and I'll add it to the total at the end of the video, along with the tally of the hours. Something I ordered right at the beginning of lockdown, before we even had thought about buying Mildred, are these, some welding pliers. I've been after a pair of these for ages. These are just real cheap ones, so cheap they don't actually match up on the end, but really good for clipping the wire off, also tightening the MIG heads and the welding tips. It's got a purpose-made thing for that. And then obviously you can put this into the nozzle and clean out the head, so much better than just a normal set of pliers, some MIG welding pliers. So yeah, we've got a few bits there, which is good. Like I say, I'll put those in, I'll put the totals in the description and at the end of the video. Right, let's get this masking tape off the cylinder head. Well, what can I say? The head looks absolutely amazing. It just looks like a brand new head. A couple of places where the paint has gone through the tape. That's fine, we can take that off. And on the head gasket side, where the gasket's going to be, a couple of places, but that's okay. But look at this. So yeah, the cylinder head's come out really nice. Looks brand new. We're not mucking about doing any like heavy grinding on the ports. You know, this is Project Mildred is my wife's car, so she's not going to be taking it down the track and absolutely caning it. We're just doing a nice sympathetic restoration, hopefully. Now these are the bits here which I've painted black. So we've got the rocker cover there, and I haven't painted the outside because we're doing that in the BMC Green. Same with the chain cover, the timing cover, we've painted inside black. But left the outside because that will be hand painted in the green, and these two they've been painted in matte black, but I am going to give those, well, at least the gator cover we'll cover that in gloss lacquer. So guys, if you like this video, think about clicking the like button, leaving a comment, and think about subscribing. We've been Project Mildred. See you next time.